evening, good evening, and welcome to the GENE-IUS Football Show. Once again, it's Monday night, it's just gone past 10. Couple technical difficulties in the studio, but we ain't watching that. We're live, direct, back on the airwaves on newstarradio.com and also on Breakthrough TV. So welcome to those guys who are watching us on Breakthrough TV live in the studio. Again, my name's GENE-IUS, obviously known as Gene Sylvester by my mother. And I have opposite me my brother from another mother, Mr. Wayne Calder. What's good, Wayne?
Good evening, Gene. Good evening, people. Good evening, everybody.
Everybody. I'm sure I used that somewhere the other day, you know, and like someone was giving me props for it, and I owned it as my own. Just to let you know. I'm not even gonna fake the funk on that one. I owned it as my own. Guys, it's been a long couple of weeks actually. We weren't able to get on last week. Last week was half term. It was half term week last week, wasn't it?
We did just the radio.
That's right, yeah. We did just do the radio. God, it feels like 2 weeks, but that's how long ago it felt.
Yeah.
A lot of football's been played, obviously, in between then. And you know, this show, usually we focus on the Premier League weekends games that have been played, obviously, just the previous days before. But we thought, obviously being a Birmingham-based radio station, and also, because we've got a Villa fan in the studio, and also because it was quite an unprecedented situation that occurred at Villa Park on Thursday for the Europa League game, which was the Villa versus Maccabi Tel Aviv game that was played. The result itself was 2-0, pretty routine, I'd say, you know, win for Villa, right? In terms of the performance itself, there was nothing surprising, right?
Well, we forgot about the football.
Aha.
And there's a lot of stuff that was happening outside of football that was impacting on the game.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of talk about fathers and parents not bringing their children to the game, fans staying away because they didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you're having to kind of address those challenges in terms of what is this all about?
Very, very good point.
Then one of the questions I was asked is, how can Maccabi Tel Aviv play in Europe?
Yeah.
So then you're having to explain why are certain clubs playing in European competitions.
It's a really good point. It's a really good point, Wayne. And I was down there for the Morning Star newspaper covering the game. And, you know, I was specifically asked, look, can you also just make sure you kind of cover a bit on the protest as well? So I made sure I got down there a little bit early just to see what was going. And the first thing that I noticed was where I parked my car, there was a bag of police vans right behind where I parked my car. There's never usually any police presence in that area where I parked my car, which is just on the Witten Road as you're going back out towards kind of like the Spaghetti Junction.
Yeah.
And so straight away you could feel the police presence in that moment. Then walking up to the ground, there are big clumps of police officers along the street. Just as you're walking up, Trinity Road, as you join Trinity Road, you know you've got the hill going up to Aston Manor, is it? The big kind of like stately kind of building on the left.
Yes, Aston Hall.
Aston Hall, even, thank you. Police were lining the path that was just up in the hill, so you had to like look really closely, and then you could see the police just lining the path. Yeah. So the whole kind of entrance into Villa Park was fully policed. It's only when you got outside the Trinity Road stand that you then saw the protesters, and I think I got down there maybe about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So there was a good group there. There was probably between 100 and 200 people there already. But that's even before a lot of the fans have started coming. And obviously, yeah, you know, they're protesting. For me, personally, my personal opinion, not the opinion of the radio station or any other publication that I work for, me personally, it's a worthwhile cause in order to bring light to. However, the question is, as you kind of alluded to a minute ago, is a football stadium the right place to be doing it? Now, obviously, the reasoning for it being done outside the police stadium was because of the fact that obviously Maccabi Tel Aviv are an Israeli team. And you mentioned as well, should they be playing in Europe? Should they be playing in any competitive football competition across the globe? And that's exactly what the message was down at the ground on the day. I did speak to a gentleman, Khan, who's a local from Aston. He was part of the protest as well, and I asked his thoughts on the situation. I just got a little soundbite here from Khan, so let's just have a listen to this one. If it'll play. As always, technical difficulties. I'll see if I can get that playing shortly. It was playing fine for me when I was doing my testing earlier on, but that's technology for you. But basically, I mean, in terms of what Khan was saying, he was pretty much saying exactly what you've said there. There we go. I think we've got it now. We'll give that another blast in a second. But ultimately, what he was saying was, when Russia invaded Ukraine, Russia was suspended from UEFA and also FIFA competition. So why is it that this isn't being done with the Israeli teams as well? That's the Israeli national teams and also the club teams also. Now, in that regard, for me, it's I mean, I don't even want to call it slightly different, because at the end of the day, there are atrocities going on. There's a war going on. For me personally, my personal opinion is any nation that's involved in any type of war should be suspended, because that helps to put pressure on the government as well, in order to stop the killing, right? Which is exactly what they're looking at. Let me just try and get this on again, guys. I'll try and get this one on again now. Bear with me. This is Khan from Aston.
My name's Khan.
Yeah.
I'm from local Aston, born and bred all my life. The reason we're out here is in solidarity with the innocent victims of Gaza, especially women and children. It's been going on for too long. You've banned Russia from every sport. So why is it that Israeli teams are not banned? Hypocritical shit like normal, you understand? So we're here to let people know that we stand with Palestine and we stand with our local community. So that's about it, brother. Nothing else.
So that was Khan from Aston speaking his mind, and obviously giving us a bit of insight in regards to what the protests were about and actually what they were standing for. But you also mentioned the Villa fans' view as well, Wayne, right? Yeah. The fact that, I mean, did you speak to many Villa fans and in regards to what their views were?
So, I'm in a number of Villa fans chats and interact with a lot of people online in terms of what's the feeling around the game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the age-old argument: should politics be involved in sport? But this became very political because it wasn't UEFA that decided that the game wouldn't take place. It was based on safety. And it was the decision of the police, in West Midlands Police.
Well, it wasn't
intelligence.
Yeah, and it wasn't actually their decision. So the West Midlands Police gave a high-risk assessment of the game based on, as you say, what happened, I think, in Amsterdam previously with the same group of fans, right? It's actually the safety advisory group within Birmingham, that's part of Birmingham City Council, that actually made the final decision to say, the fact the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans shouldn't travel. But in terms of what you said there around, should politics be involved? And also you mentioned something about, some people not wanting to bring their kids. That's exactly what Dave thought from Manchester. I was a bit confused. I said to him, a Mancunian coming down to watch Villa? How come you're a Villa fan? I thought, isn't it supposed to be the other way around? But this is what Dave had to say.
Hi, I'm Dave from Manchester. I'm a little bit on edge of the match tonight because I think it's going to be a funny atmosphere tonight. A lot of police around, a lot of protests around. I've not brought my daughter to the match, which I might have done in different circumstances. But I think it'll be okay. I think it's going to be quiet. I think the ground's going to feel quiet. So it feels like a bit of I feel a bit flat coming to the game, to be honest.
Of course, it's taken away from the actual.
It's definitely taken away from the focus. I don't come to every match. I come to a lot, but I don't come to all of them.
Got it.
And I don't know. It's a shame. It feels a shame. It feels like it's taken away from, because I think most Villa fans are just bothered about the match. They're not bothered about the protests. They're not bothered about who we're playing. Indeed. So that's it.
Brilliant. So that was Dave from Manchester who'd come down, and as he said, alluded to what you said earlier on, Wayne, the fact that a lot of fans that usually come down with their children didn't bring their children, didn't bring the family. And also that weird atmosphere and the weird feeling that he said he had, that was definitely felt in the stadium. Obviously, with no away fans, number one, that always makes it feel a bit strange. But even the Villa support themselves, there was large sections within the Villa stand that were also empty. So it was clear. I didn't get to check the actual official attendance, but it was definitely much lower. And also just the energy in the stadium felt really flat. Usually, I think I wrote in my report afterwards that I'm used to the Villa ground bouncing in the first 10 minutes of the game, obviously until you go 1-0 down. But ultimately, I'm used to raucous. I'm used to raucous energy within the stadium, and it just wasn't there that night. I've got one more guy, someone from your neck of the woods, Wayne, Steve from Erdington, who had this to say.
Hello, it's Steve from Erdington. I just want to be here for the game. Not really interested in the politics. All right.
So that was Steve. Steve was very short and to the point. For those of you on Breakthrough TV that didn't hear that, what Steve said was, not really interested in politics, I'm just there for the game. In that accent, I'm just there for the game. and I think a lot of Villa fans obviously, you know, echoed that fact. At half-time I came out, and a lot of the Villa fans in the Trinity Road stand, they come out the back, you know, come out and have a cigarette and so on. So they were now kind of directly in front of where the protest was being taken, being held. And then you got the gates obviously between them, but they were then singing songs over to the protest. So there's some protesters playing drums. I thought this was quite humorous because it's just football humour. They were playing the drums and they were like, what is that? What is that, right? And then they started singing, shall we sing, shall we sing, shall we sing a song for you, shall we sing a song for you, which I thought was quite humorous. Football humour being brought into that arena. But ultimately, again, going back to what you said, my summation of it was football and politics do not mix. I understand the reasoning for the protest, and I understand why they obviously chose that match. But I don't think they got the reception that they would have liked to from people who generally might be quite sympathetic to their cause, but on this night just paid their money to come and watch a football match. And actually, as you rightly say, that took over everything around the game, unfortunately. I'm glad that it's out of the way. But you know, the Maccabi boss, in the press conference afterwards, he said that the team had to get there 5 hours early in order to avoid the protests outside. And when he was asked, is that going to be the general protocol whenever you play away in Europe now? And he said, no, only here. Yeah. So obviously they haven't faced that kind of situation anywhere else. They obviously faced it outside Villa Park. Sorry, you were going to say something, Wayne?
I was going to say, there's a number of stories and there's a number of iterations that can be read into. Because what I noticed was a number of Palestinian flags along Witten Road.
Yeah.
A lot more than there had been previously.
Yeah.
And I believe that was in terms of solidarity with the Palestinians.
Of course.
The position of Aston Villa, of Villa Park in Birmingham, this is a predominantly Muslim community.
That's right.
So you can see that it was kind of like decisions had to be made, difficult decisions had to be made in the greater interest, the greater good.
Correct.
But I feel that just took the focus away from the football.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And then if we do move on to the football, the game didn't really live up to anything. It was just like, it might as well have been a training game.
Again, I actually stated that it was more like a very early pre-season game. You know, those first games where you're not really expecting anything. You just kind of turn up just to kind of, you know, see some of your players play, but you're not expecting any great performances. That's exactly how it was. And I'm sure the players must have been affected by it as well. The players must have been impacted by it. I mean, even Unai, I thought his response was great. You know, when he was asked about it in the press conference, he just said, in fact, before he even came out, we were briefed that he's not going to be answering any questions about the protests. Comes out, one of the journalists got smart, and you know, they usually have you know, the management to come out for the press conference. They usually have someone next to them who, if maybe they don't understand the question, or if it's something that they don't know, then they'll ask that person. They'll probably know more about what's happening elsewhere in the club, blah blah blah. And he just came out straight away and said, "We've already said no questions, blah blah." But when I still responded and said, "I don't know anything about politics. I only know football," and I thought that was a beautifully delivered line to the gentleman, because he's saying, "I'm not being rude. Politics is not my area. Football is. Go and ask a politician about what formation we played tonight and what system I was playing, and see what his answer is. See what sense you get out of him. Do you know what I'm saying?"
But I just think that Villa Park, capacity 44,000, 45,000 people. There's only 29,429 in the ground.
Makes sense. I couldn't see the stand behind me. I can't remember what stand. Is that the Doug Ellis stand? I can't remember.
Doug Ellis, yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't see what was behind me, but I could see the rest of the stand, and I saw a lot of gaps. Yeah, so that doesn't surprise me at all. And that's, I mean, for a European match, and what I said in the paper in my report was the fact that for a club with such rich European history, they are totally, you know, embracing European football over the last couple of seasons. Yeah. So it was clear that the protests are what kept the fans away. Yeah. Personally, I feel like maybe there should have been discussion with the protest group as well So the safety advisory group shouldn't have just, you know, they've obviously done their bit to stop the Tel Aviv fans coming. I think that was the right decision. I also think they should have had a word with the protesters and said, you know, we're not, we don't want to silence you. You've got the right to obviously protest. Doing it right outside the Trinity Road stand could be antagonistic to some of the football fans who just want to come and watch the game. Yeah, who actually don't want to be involved in the political side of things. Do you know what I mean? So,
and you gotta give kudos to the Tel Aviv club.
Yeah.
Who actually, when there was this debate, because I think politicians got involved talking about, yes, the game should go ahead. It shouldn't be about politics.
That's right.
But they said, actually, no. We don't want any tickets.
But they only said that because they felt that by the club initially withholding the tickets, because the club or the safety advisory group, you know, whichever came first, initially withheld the tickets. So when they then suggest they can make them available again, they said, we don't want it because you've already created a situation now, and you've almost incited something to happen, if that makes sense, by even putting that dynamic there, you know, in the game.
But I think that it was the right decision.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree. Even if it was available, to say actually no.
No, yeah. For the greater good.
Yeah.
For the greater good, I think, yeah, that was the right decision. Because otherwise, things could have popped off down there that we would have been speaking about for the next 2-3 months. Whereas actually, it's passed by, it's over, no one's really talking about it anymore, apart from us. So I think that was definitely the right decision in that regard. Yeah. Anyway. Back to the football, because it's definitely not a politics show or a political show. Obviously, a number of games played over the weekend, guys. As always, we've got the roundup from the Grime Journalist as well, who sent us his unique roundup of the weekend's action. Another banger. So again, if you haven't heard it already on his Instagram page because you're not following him, I don't know why you wouldn't be following him already, to be honest with you. But if you're not following him already and you haven't heard it as yet, we're going to drop it for you any second now. Let's make sure we've got the VT lined up. Yep, VT's ready to go. Okay, so we're going to, if you're on Breakthrough TV, you're going to get to see the video live. So if you're not on Breakthrough TV, that's the reason why you should have been on there. So you're going to get to see it live now. We're going to come through with the Grime Journalist roundup of the week's games. Here it comes.
Make you Brian Brobby with the flick, Chelsea 3, Wolves 0, Villa 4, Bournemouth 0, Semenyo's penalty was saved by Emi Martinez at 2-0, Palace 0, Brighton 0, Forest 3, Leeds 1, Sangari gives White a late penalty from Anderson, drama at the Etihad, Super Sunday the final match, City 3, Liverpool 0, that's cut it down to over 4-point gap, after the international break it's Arsenal versus Spurs in the North London derby, but what would occur?
Yep. That's the Grime Journalist.
Every week, we know what he's going to say because we know the results of the game, but he's just got the flow, he's just got a rhyme that just hits it, and then the beats, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, every time.
Shout out.
Yeah, I keep meaning to get Dream, who is the Grime Journalist, I keep meaning to get him to send us the details of the guy that makes his beats for him, because that guy needs props too, man, because yeah, the beats are too bad. So big up the Grime Journalist. Again, if you're not following him already, it's the Grime Journalist on Instagram, also on TikTok, on where else is he? I think he's on
everything.
Yeah, he's on X. the Grime journalist. Go and check him out, man.
I saw him on Sky Sports.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I saw him doing Celebrity Traitors.
Yeah,
He's getting out there.
Yeah. But yeah, we're the first show, even though he's got, I can't remember if it's a Spiral DJ on Radio 1 Extra, even though he plays his roundup as well. We play it here first, guys, because our show's on a Monday and his show's on a Tuesday, so you know where to hear the Grime journalist roundups. Make sure you tune in every Monday at 10 o'clock for that. Okay, what is it? We've got 5 minutes before our first ad break. So, Wayne, I'm sorry, I'm going to flip it on you a little bit. We were going to cover the Tottenham Man United game because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot to talk about on that one. Again, we probably don't have much to talk about. It's probably Everton, Fulham, 2-0, the 2-0 win for Everton. So I thought, let's do that really quickly. This is how we move on this show, guys. We're fluid, we're flexible, we could just shift. So yeah, Everton at Hill Dickinson Stadium, because we're not supposed to say the Hill Dickinson Stadium.
In my notes, I got it as.
Go on.
That day.
Why you said that the stadium? That the stadium there. Yeah, they actually dominated Fulham. The scoreline doesn't do credit. If I remember, they had about 5 goals scored in total. They hit the back of the net 5 times. Only 2 of the goals stood. The other 3 were ruled off for offside. So really, really dominant display by Everton. On the weekend, in terms of the goal scorers, obviously Idrissa Gueye opened a scoring in first half injury time. I think there was a shot that hit the crossbar, then he was first to react, coming in and slamming the ball home low into the net. And then the second goal was a big boy header from Michael Keane. Well, I say big boy header, it actually came off his shoulder and looped in to the far corner of the net. But obviously he ran away like it was the big boy goal that he thought it was in his head.
Career depended on it, man.
Career depended on it, indeed. So again, Everton having to rely on the team to score goals because the strikers aren't really scoring goals right now at the moment. But yeah, they're dominant at home. I think Everton have found a really good formula. We always know, what I'm named there?
David Moyes.
Thank you, David Moyes. We always know that his teams play sometimes functional football. Get the ball down the line, get the ball into the channels, get your big strong runners after them. If it has to go in the air to your big striker, get in around his feet. But he's actually adapted really well to his playing personnel, I think, in terms of the fact that he's got a bit of special, a bit of magic now on either wing with Ndiaye and obviously with Grealish on the other side as well. And he's adapted the team game to a way where actually they're playing a bit of football now. They can go direct if they need to, but actually they're working and making sure they're getting those players into the game regularly.
So for me, as a manager, you have to get the best out of the tools that you have. And David Moyes has been an excellent exponent of getting the best out of the tools that he has.
Yeah.
So when you think about when he was at West Ham, he had 1 or 2 flair players, and he did play them, but they had to play within a system which made them difficult to beat. So one of the things to survive in a David Moyes team, you have to work hard, and you have to work on the defensive side of your game. But he does allow his more creative maverick players to be that creator, to be that maverick player.
That's right.
So when you look at Ndiaye and you look at Grealish, they still have to put a shift in defensively, but he allows them artistic license to impose themselves on the game moving forward. Now, for me, I've always felt that David Moyes is a very underrated manager. Like, if he managed West Ham and he won a European title
trophy
with West Ham.
The first in their history?
Is the first in the history or the first?
Or first in a very, very long time.
40, 50 years. But he also had them finishing in the top 7 in the Premier League week in, week out. And then it's like people take it for granted. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't play the West Ham way. What is the West Ham way? He's won you a trophy, but yet you're still not happy with it.
True.
Now you've gone to the West Ham way. What has happened to your team?
Exactly that. I totally agree with you. And I was wrong. They have won 3 major European, they've been to 3 major European finals, I should say, winning the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1965. But as Arsenal fans know, when I watch European Cup Winners' Cup, we don't watch them one day. But yeah, no, you're right. I think he gets a bit of a bum deal. Although I think that, you know, the universe just worked in the right way, because for me, Everton moving into this new stadium and getting Moyes back in charge, for me was just, it was poetic in terms of how that all came together. And they're reaping their rewards now. They're getting good results. Do you know what I mean? Getting good results. They're, you know, in a respectable position in the Premier League of 13th, which, before anybody laughs, is respectable for Everton. We're very used to them having relegation battles, you know, in a lot of seasons, and that's not having a snipe. That's just been the reality of things. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, and he's still building. I think they're getting strong. I think they will get stronger and stronger, but they're only a couple of injuries away from potentially, you know, then finding themselves struggling.
Let's call a spade a spade. Michael Keane is only in the team because Braithwaite is injured.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So all they need is one more injury in their defence, and all of a sudden it's Pete Tong. And
if Grealish or Ndiaye, you know, have a long-term injury, then, you know, the drop-off in their replacement will be quite significant. Do you know what I'm saying?
But on the flip side, they've brought in Grealish, they've brought in Dewsbury Hall, they're playing Ndiaye, he's fit. You know what I mean?
Very true.
They're starting to kind of build a side, but he needs to be given time to be able to build it. And in that transition period, he's got to play a system and play a way of football that they don't get beat.
You're not wrong. And for me, Dwight McNeil's on the bench, and Dwight McNeil he was their magician like a couple of seasons ago. Do you know what I mean?
They didn't have Grealish or Ndiaye.
Correct, that's what I'm saying.
So they're upgrading their magicians.
They've upgraded, but at least they've got him who can come in and, you know, him coming in for Ndiaye, I'd say, yeah, I'll take that. That's all right. It's 10:30, guys. We do have to run for a quick break now, but when we come back, we'll be jumping into the rest of the Premier League fixtures over the weekend. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in a few.
Broadcasting across the city on 98.7 FM. New Style Radio.
Welcome back. You're live with the Genius Football Show here on newstarradio.com and Breakthrough TV. Guys, if you haven't found Breakthrough TV as yet, you need to go on YouTube, and it's BREA, so break, rather than spelling out Breakthrough's break, and then it's True, TRU, then TV. So that's Breakthrough TV on YouTube. That's where you'll see us live in the studio. You'll be able to hear everything exactly the same as you can on newstarradio.com, but that's just another option if you want to go on there. And when you're in Breakthrough TV, I think you might have to log in to YouTube to do this. But you can leave your comments underneath as well, and we'll call out any comments later on. Anybody who's got any views on anything that we're talking about, any of the topics, we'll call out your views a bit later on in the show as well. So do tune in. Breakthrough TV, Break TRU TV, and newstarradio.com. And of course, you're in tune to the Genius Football Show. Before the break, we talked on Everton's victory over Fulham. We're going to move on to Tottenham Man United now, because that was a great game to start the weekend off with, right? That was the lunchtime kickoff on Saturday afternoon. I didn't get to watch it live. Actually, I didn't even get to listen to the commentary on that one. But the game ended 2-2. It was a bit of a topsy-turvy game, Wayne.
Yeah, it was. Man United are on the crest of a wave. And was it 4 games in a row that they've won?
Yeah.
And you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, can they continue this run going? Now, Tottenham are the kind of bogey team for some, but the team that you want to play for others, in a sense that they're likely to implode.
Yeah.
So on one hand, Tottenham can go to Manchester City and beat Manchester City at the Etihad convincingly, and then they can go to...
Or Burnley can go to them and beat them 3-0.
Yeah. You don't really know what you're going to get.
And you get that with both of them to a degree, right?
Well, Manchester United on the back of, is it 4 wins on the trot? So you actually have they turned the corner? Umbreno's starting to do his thing. Cunha's starting to look good. Sesko, jury's still out on Sesko.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're starting to get into the rhythm of things.
Yeah.
So the game was a really, really interesting game.
Yeah.
And it was really tentative in the beginning of the game because it's like nobody wanted to make a mistake.
Yeah, very true indeed. Well, in terms of the scoring in that game, the scoring was started by Manchester United, by the away team, and it was one of the players that you just mentioned there, the summer signing, Brian Mbeumo, who opened the scoring. It was a great cross from Ahmad, nice little chip ball into the back post. Way too easy for Mbeumo to be scoring from there, just nodding in from around 6 to 8 yards out, something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure how you get to that space in the box, to be honest with you. But it was a good finish, good calm finish to put Man United 1-0 up. And then Tottenham equalised through Tell. What a finish.
Oh.
Great turn. Great turn, great finish. Left De Ligt in his wake, man. De Ligt was trying to grab onto him and use his physical presence, and he just slipped him, turned, and yeah, great, powerful finish.
I think with Tell, like, he's come with a big reputation. He's come from Bayern Munich. He was he was getting minutes at Bayern Munich. He was on the bench a lot. He was part of the first team squad at Bayern, and he's come to Tottenham. And you haven't really he hasn't really pulled up any trees. He hasn't really showed us why Tottenham went out and bought this particular player.
Correct.
But then in moments like that, you watch it and think, wow, there's a player there.
Yeah.
We need to see more of that.
More of that, yeah, exactly. You're right. And you're right. He has kind of struggled a little bit in the Premier League, but then there's a number of players that have come from the Bundesliga that have kind of struggled to get up to the pace of the Premier League. And I think we've mentioned it on previous shows. But listen, the pace and the physicality in the Premier League is unprecedented. You don't get it anywhere else in any other league across the world. You can get elements of it. You go to the Brazilian league, you'll get the physicality, or even the Argentinian league, you get the physicality. Then you go to the La Liga, you get the technical, but you don't necessarily have that physicality. You probably get a bit more tempo, but still probably not the pace of the Premier League either. So you're right, it's taken him a while to get up to speed, but I think that goal could be, who knows, that could be the start of his Tottenham career, where he actually steps up now and starts saying, okay, I'm here. Because he's come with a reputation that Spurs fans should be excited about. So let's see how that goes. In terms of the second goal, it was a Richarlison flicked header. I think it was in the 91st minute, wasn't it?
91st minute.
Yeah. It was William Odeboer. He shot. It looked like he was probably going wide because he had a bit of curl on it. Yeah. But Richarlison put the slightest glance on it, which took it just inside the post, and then celebrated like he scored the World Cup winner. But then, I mean, he doesn't score many goals, so he's got to celebrate everything like it's his last.
Taking off his shirt.
He did the whole shebang, yo. What?
I was waiting to see the chicken dance.
But the thing is, I thought he would have learned, because he did the same against Liverpool a couple of seasons ago when they went to, what was it? He got the equaliser for Spurs in like the 9-something minute. And as soon as we kicked off, Jota went down the other end. Rest his soul, God bless his soul. Went down the other end and banged. It was so funny. So yeah, he did it again, because Man United also got that last-minute equaliser through De Ligt. It was a corner, back post corner, powerful-ish header into like the near top corner of the net. But the goalkeeper gets both hands on it and tries to push it out of the net. But he was just like, what do they call it, floppy wrists or whatever?
Floppy wrists.
And the ball still, when he pushed it, he kind of just pushed it into the roof of the net rather than out. Yeah. So it was 96 minutes that one wasn't it? Yeah. So great game. In terms of possession, Man United bossed possession in regards to the game, but there were periods where they were kind of under the cosh as well from Spurs. Spurs trumped them in terms of having 4 shots on target, whereas Man United had 2. And I think Spurs had 3 shots off target, and Man United had 2 as well. So again, it just goes to show, for me, I like those kind of stats, because it just goes to show possession doesn't mean anything in football anymore. We used to get really hyped about possession stats. Oh, look at them, they've had 75% possession. Yeah, but they lost 2-0. So what does that mean? Do you know what I mean? What does it mean? But yeah, you mentioned Man United turning a corner. I think they have. I think they're unbeaten in 5 now, with the 4 wins previously. So they're definitely motoring along nicely from a Man United fan's perspective. They're definitely not the Manchester United of last year when Amorim came in. They definitely seem to have some resilience, if you like, in their team now. They're not shipping goals as much, and also they're looking dangerous on the attack. So, I mean, would you say they did the right thing by standing by Amorim at this point?
For me, the jury's still out. I think they had to stick by him because they made him leave his club halfway through a season and join him, even though the talk was him joining at the end of the season. They wanted him in now. You can't entice a manager to come in and then only give him half a season or a couple of months to kind of impress him. I think that Amorim's going to need at least 2, maybe 3 transfer windows to kind of get the players, the deadwood out of Manchester, And when I say deadwood, I use the term deadwood in the the nicest possible way, because everybody that's left Manchester United has gone on to be an absolute superstar at any club that they've gone to.
Right.
So actually, is the deadwood anyway? But we'll leave that. I noticed that Shannon ain't paying us no mind. Now we're getting after Man United, but it's all right, Shannon. It's all right.
Sorry, we did forget to mention we've got a Man United fan in the studio. Yeah, that's our production manager for the Breakthrough TV. Yeah, so anything we say Man United, we're getting some evil glances, man. He's gonna start putting some evil filters on these images you're seeing. So we're gonna ease up on the Man United on the Man United badge. We're gonna ease
I'm not. Yes, the deadwoods, yeah. and your stadium's leaking water. Anyway. I'll leave that one. I'll leave that one there.
But you spoke about Spurs and not really knowing what you're going to get from them, right? And again, that's really clear to see if you look at their last, their run of form recently, which has them. Obviously, they drew the game at the weekend. Prior to that, they won the game. Then they lost the previous 2 games, won the game before that, drew the game before that, lost it. So they're literally, it's almost like they're going win, draw, lose, win, draw, lose, win, draw, lose all the way down.
But what I would say, the difference is, there seems to be a shape and a structure to how they're playing.
Yeah.
They might not be performing, they might not be hitting the heights, and they might not be able to consistently do it from game to game, but you can see defensively they're a lot more solid.
Of course.
You can see, well, if you look at when, it's just who we are, mate.
Yeah, Big Ange.
When Big Ange was there, he lost Van der Ven and he lost Romero at the same time. So he lost his 2 centre halves,
which doesn't help anybody.
Which doesn't help. But so far in Frank's reign, he's had them both,
That's
and
right.
you can see that they're building on that.
Very
I
true.
think Dijed Spence.
Yeah.
He's another season more experience in the Premier League. You've got the Portuguese right back Porro.
Yeah.
I think he's a very good player, and you can kind of the guy Udogie, Destiny and Udogie back now. You can kind of
who's also a very strong defender, man. Really good player and really good going forward also.
He loves that one-to-one. He reminds me of Michael Coyote at Brentford.
And a bit of a...
Both of them are Italian. Both of them are young-ish fullbacks.
True.
Both of them came to England in the last 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're both very similar in terms of their trajectories.
Very true.
And I anticipate that both of them are going to have very, very productive futures in English football.
Indeed.
And then go back to Italy.
Yeah. To one of the big teams. Yeah, to one of the big teams.
They're going to go Milan, Juventus, Napoli. They'll go back to one of the big teams.
Unless they impress so much that Madrid come knocking, and we know Madrid, they like a good defender as well. Do you know what I mean?
Well.
So yeah, we probably don't want them to be doing too well too soon. But you're right. Listen, we speak on Spurs and their mixed fortunes, but they're sitting 5th in the Premier League right now. I heard some Spurs fans complaining after one of their previous losses, talking about, Thomas Frank, this, that, the other, blah. I'm like, do you know where you finished last season? You're in the top half, man. You should be giving thanks for that alone, that you're in the top half of the table right now. But they're at the top of a clutch of teams, all on 18 points in 5th place. So, listen, it's a transitional season for them. New managers coming in. It's a step up for him as well, potentially in terms of size of club and also expectation. He worked at Brentford with very little expectation and they overachieved under his tenure, although my man now is coming there, he's making a farce of that one, Keith Andrews. But so for me, Spurs in a good place, Man United in a just as good a place. They're on the same points in 7th place. So I think both sets of fans should be satisfied at the moment. Let's say, with where they are. They're in a good position. They just need to, either of them could find a run of form that takes them on a consistent run that takes them, up to 3rd, 4th, place, and then, that's happy days for them. So, interesting to see how they go over the next few weeks.
All I'd say to the fans is be careful what you wish for. Because there's been so many times, get rid of the manager. Look at Moyes at West Ham.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of Moyes. Moyes, he's not playing the West Ham way. Look what happened to West Ham after we went.
Exactly. But was that because he went, or just because they got the wrong manager in?
Either or.
Because if you say, look at Nuno for now, he's starting to turn the ship around a little bit there. Obviously, 2 wins in the last 2. If they got the right manager in, maybe no one could say nothing. It's like, okay,
no one would say nothing.
But the fact they went for the wrong guy, or just maybe the right guy at the wrong club, whatever you want to call it, that's where you kind of look back and say, actually, we didn't have it too bad under David Moyes. Do you know what I mean? We've got to a European final and won a European trophy and we were still moaning the season afterwards. And he didn't leave them in the relegation zone. It's just the style of football they weren't happy with. Listen, anyway, as a Liverpool fan right now, I'd take results over style of football. I'll tell you that now. But anyway, we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, we will talk about that.
Yeah.
Wait for that one.
If we have time, because, we've started a bit late today, so let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
Talking about Nuno and West Ham. West Ham won 3-2 at home against Burnley. Another really good game. I was trying to figure out how many goals were scored this weekend, because I thought, God, there just seemed to be loads of goals. When I was doing the prep for the show, listen, I love football and I love goals, but when I'm doing a prep for the show, less goals is nicer because it takes me less time to prep for the show. But yeah, there was loads of goals in these games. This was another high-scoring game as well. It was a dramatic comeback by West Ham at the London Stadium after falling behind, but they turned things around, obviously, to come out 3-2 winners. In terms of the scoring, it was opened with a Fleming header, great header, again to give Burnley a 1-0 lead. And then Callum Wilson. I was really happy for Callum Wilson getting I believe his first goal in West Ham colours, or is he? Yeah, I think so, right? And probably one of his first starts as well. Yep. So really happy for him to get a goal on his start. Who was the architect of the goal? Mr. Somerville, another forgotten man under the previous tenure, right? And we'd spoken about him previously. I think when he moved to West Ham last season, we spoke about the fact of this is kind of like the kind of player they need. Yeah. A winger who can, isolate a player and beat a man one-on-one. And then he came there, they just had him on the bench. And then they're giving him bit part minutes here and there.
But when he was coming off the bench, you could see that he was trying.
Yeah.
But then he was trying without confidence.
Yes, exactly. And also knowing that this might be the only minutes I get over the next few weeks, so I need to impress. Yeah. And that's a different kind of pressure, But then you'd have to say, what's the man just saying to him when he's going on? Is he saying to him, don't listen, regardless of what happens today, you're going to get your opportunities. Yeah. Or is he giving him the impression, even if he doesn't verbally say it, that, boy, if you don't perform, then I don't know if we're going to see you again, anytime soon. You know what I mean? So that's where good man management comes in. Yeah. Even those players that are on the bench, giving them that confidence and that belief that you're still a huge asset to this club. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And when you come on, we bring you on because we believe in you. Was he getting that? I don't know. And a young player as well, making a move to such a big club. It was quite a big move for him at his age.
Well, when you look at what he was doing at Leeds in the Championship, he was twisting it up. One of the star players in the Championship. And then you're thinking, okay, let's see how you develop into the Premier League. And I get it. You can't expect young Championship players to come up to the Premier League and be the man straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to be bedded in. They have to kind of get used to the pace and the physicality of what it is that they're doing. But he didn't seem to be getting the opportunity.
That's right.
And he's few and far between. So he'd come on, he'd play 5 minutes or 7 minutes.
Exactly.
Have a good game, and then you wouldn't see him for 3 games.
Correct.
What's that doing to his confidence? What's that doing to his self-esteem? Because, footballers have got egos.
Yeah, totally.
Footballers, they want to... They
want to feel special. Yeah. They want to feel special and they want to feel wanted.
And if they're not, they sometimes sulk.
Yeah, without a doubt. or even if it's not a sulk, it could just be a bit of a dent to the confidence. Do you know what I mean? So now they're second guessing. Oh, should I take the guy? Oh no, I might lose it. Let me just play a simple pass. That way, at least it doesn't look like I'm losing the ball for the team. But it was him anyway, Mr. Somerville, who was the architect of Wilson's goal. He cut in from the left-hand side, showed good feet, came on his right. He did shoot for goal. Let's not fake the funk. He did shoot for goal, and he took like a deflection off a defender's foot up in the air, and then Wilson was there to nod it in at the back post. In terms of West Ham's second goal, it was a Souček special. It was a Souček special. It's a corner. It's gone in. It's been headed out wide on the other side of the goal mouth to Paqueta, who's like kind of wide of the back post. He then kind of curled a left foot kind of cross-come shot in. The goalkeeper's parried it, and Souček's coming into the back post, and he kind of just goes it off his stomach.
He didn't even try to.
He just carried on running. Yeah, just carried on running. I'm sure last week, because it's 2 goals and 2 for him now, I'm sure last week it was similar. It was a shot. The goalkeeper saved it, and he's just running in, and he just like bundles it over the line.
It's not a kick. He wasn't even. No. He just ran. Just ran it.
It's a Souček special, man.
And then his celebration when he's running around in circles.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, "Who am I?"
Well, like I say, any goal's a goal, right? Put West Ham 2-1 up in the game, and it was Souček again, actually, that was kind of the creator for the third goal as well. It was a long range shot, low across the ground. Keeper doesn't hold it, And another forgotten man, Kyle Walker-Peters, comes up with the goal again, first to react to the parry, and bundles it over the line there as well to give them a 3-1 lead at that point. What are you going to say about Kyle Walker-Peters? I know he's a player that you like.
I was looking at him in terms of when Southampton got relegated for Villa to even potentially having a look at him as a right back.
Yes.
He's gone to West Ham and he kind of disappeared. Don't get me wrong, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for me, he's starting to show why Man United pay that money for him.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
You don't really see him get beat in one-on-one situations, and what you're seeing now is the quality into the box and the overlapping runs and getting forward.
Yeah.
So for me, Walker-Peters is going to have a battle on his hands, but they've kind of found this kind of right wing-back position for him.
Yeah.
And I was so pleased to see him score a goal. I don't know how many games he started this season, but it hasn't been a majority of them.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been many. Yeah.
But I'm hoping that he can crack on now and push on, and because he's good enough.
Yeah.
He just needs to be playing in the right team.
You're not wrong. I look at him and I say, you leave Southampton and you want to go somewhere where you're going to get football. Was West Ham really the right move when they've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka in your preferred position? And last season, Wan-Bissaka had an amazing season coming from Manchester United. His levels just went up again, levels. And then you go to put yourself up against him. I thought that was a bit strange. But I think Kyle Walker-Peters can play left back. I think he's probably played left back more times than Wan-Bissaka has. So that's also an option, I suppose. But for me personally, it's not the move that I would have gone for. And probably not Villa either, actually, with Matty Cash there, to be honest with you, even though you mentioned.
But we'll come to Matty Cash.
Yeah, fair enough. Burnley did get a consolation. There was a long-range shot from out on the left from Hannibal. I saw him winding up. I was like, what are you doing? But he tested it. He said, Areola's in goal. That's why I'm doing it. And he fired the ball from distance. Areola doesn't keep hold of the ball. He drops the ball. And I think it was Josh Cullen that ran in to pick up the pieces and get that consolation goal for Burnley. Again, another game where Burnley bossed possession in the game, but obviously West Ham came out 3-2 victors in the end. Once again, proving possession don't really mean a lot if you're not doing much with it. Nuno's second win, 2-2. Again, another manager that looks like he's finding his feet at his new club, at a club where they were, really struggling beforehand as well. What's a good season for Nuno?
Not finishing anywhere near relegation. So I would say if West Ham finish mid-table and there's no fear of relegation and he has a good cup run, for me that would be a good outcome for West Ham, because there was times this season at the beginning of the season where they were going to be in a relegation
very early. You're right,
and they didn't look like they could get out of it.
No.
So you always look at West Ham. You said, other than Jarrod Bowen, what other West Ham player would you think actually you could step up and join one of the upper echelon teams? But now you're looking at them, actually Wan-Bissaka starting to perform consistently. The midfielder, not Alvarez. His name.
Not Paqueta?
No, it wasn't Paqueta. His name. Fernandes.
Okay, yeah.
Like, they bought him for big money, and you look and you're thinking, what do you really do? What do you really do? Yeah. But then actually, he's starting to show his mettle now. What I mean? He gets stuck in. He's tired. He's pressing. He's tireless. He's running up and down. You're thinking that is a Nuno midfielder.
Yes.
And then he's brought in that Freddie Potts into the centre of the park.
Yeah.
West Ham. To endear yourself to the West Ham's fans.
Yeah.
Bring in a player that's come through their academy.
Yes, very true. Yeah.
And he's also the son of Steve Potts, who's also a West Ham legend. So I don't know if it's a stroke of genius or it's done intentionally. But bringing him in and making him play, straight away you've endeared yourself to the fans.
Yeah, indeed. Very, very true. You're so true. Another thing I like as well is that he's utilising his substitutes really well as well. So, two of the second half goals at the weekend came from players introduced from the bench as well. So, he's giving everybody an opportunity. And freshening things up when he feels he needs to freshen things up as well. But once again, Nuno's a big, the show are a big fan of Nuno's. So we do hope that that he prospers down at West Ham, and it might be a proverbial, couple of fingers up to their North East London neighbours in Spurs. So it would be really another kick in the teeth for Spurs if West Ham start outperforming them again with Nuno, as Nottingham Forest did last season with Nuno. So yeah, that'll be really interesting to see how that pans out as well. In regards to Burnley, are we feeling that they don't... It's similar. It's actually... It feels like Burnley of a couple of seasons ago under Company. Playing some really nice football. Don't necessarily have the players in the key areas to make that possession count, and obviously leaking a lot of goals as well. Whereas obviously last season, the Championship, that was one of their USPs, wasn't it? The fact they had, 16 goals they conceded in the whole of the Championship season last season. So ultimately, their strength last season isn't there, and actually going forward, who are you looking at in that Burnley forward line to say this guy is a level above and he's going to be the talisman? I'm not seeing that at the moment.
I think this Zane Fleming, who they've got up front, I was not familiar with him before a couple of weeks ago, where he scored a double.
Yeah.
And I'm just having a look at who are the forwards for Burnley. So you've got Lyle Foster, who was there last time.
Yeah.
So he's played in the Premier League. He works hard.
Yeah.
I call them meat and two veg strikers.
Yeah.
Like they earn a living. They'll run channels, they'll battle with centre halves.
Yep.
But are they going to score you enough goals for you to remain in the Premier League? If you look at promoted teams that come up, most promoted teams that come up, they have a striker that hits 15 goals in that season.
Yeah.
And those 15 goals helps turn those draws into wins or turns those losses into draws.
Yes.
And it helps them amass the points that enables them to stay up.
Correct.
But I think with this Burnley team, when you look at it, that last season they were the best defence in the league. Like as he said, only conceded.
I think it was across all four leagues, wasn't it?
Awful.
Yeah.
But then they're coming to the Premier League. Your defensive record's going to be put under pressure. And I don't imagine that the Premier League attacks are going to be as wasteful as Championship
Without
attacks.
that. And also you're just up against, greater quality. Yeah, generally, right? So yeah, listen, promoted teams are always going to face a bit of a baptism of fire when they first come up. Obviously, Sunderland are proving to be a bit of a fly in the ointment for that statement. But it's rarely that you'll see a team come up from the Championship and perform to the levels of Sunderland in in this first period anyway. Kudos
Let's get till
to
after
them.
Christmas.
Yeah. And then we'll see,
starts to
again,
even itself out.
injuries and all of that. Yeah, you never know.
Because remember when Sheffield United came up and they had the overlapping centre halves?
Yes.
And everyone was like, what are they doing? The centre halves are overlapping on the flank.
Yeah.
And then by January, February, people sussed it out.
Exactly.
That finished.
And they got exposed. Listen, like Scott Parker as a man, like him as a manager, I would, I kind of like Burnley to stay up, just to see what they can do next season, because I do like their brand of football as well. Maybe if they are able to sustain in the league this season, maybe then they can go and get the quality they need in those key areas, a top centre-back and maybe a wide man or a striker that just kind of like takes them up a level, and then maybe they can start to build on that. But they've got a fight on their hands to stay in the Premier League in this first season though. It is coming up to 11 o'clock, guys. We are due for another break. It's a really quick one this time, so don't go anywhere. Otherwise, you might miss the start of the next section.
98.7 FM. New style radio.
And welcome back once again. The Genius Football Show, Monday nights, 10 o'clock. Don't forget, newstyleradio.com and also Breakthrough TV. Again, that's Break True, that's TRU, so that's all one word, TV on YouTube. Go on YouTube, check us out. You can see us live in the studio. Wait, let's give them a wave. Yo, what's good? See us live in the studio talking about the same football content that you used to us talking, just with a slightly different view. Some will say it's a better view, some will say, I'd rather the radio, actually, thank you. Probably because of Wayne's Villa top, I know. But ultimately...
Don't get me started. Just for the listening public, we are not a Liverpool podcast, even though there seems to be a lot of Liverpool regalia hanging around here. But don't worry, now that I'm prepared, now that I understand,
You're going to come You're gonna come
Next
with
week.
it. You're gonna come with it, yeah?
I'm bringing it
Listen,
next week.
listen. Can I just say something? I bought a Jamaica flag to make you feel at home. I'm Grenadian. I bought a Jamaica Reggae Boys flag, scarf to make you feel at home. I even bought a Pele shirt. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of balance it out. Do you understand? But what I'm doing, I'm bringing greatness into the studio. Yeah, Pele, one of the greatest players ever to grace the earth. Liverpool, 20 times champions of English football. So what I'm saying is, what we're trying to do here, we're trying to bring, you know, the quality of everything up. So you bring quality in, and it inspires you. You know, look, I bought our trophies from when we won league titles ourselves back in 2000 and something.
Was it 2000?
2000 and something? No, it was definitely 2000 and something. I had to wipe the dust away to check the dates. You know, so yeah. So yeah, this is the new format, guys. And listen, if you're listening on Breakthrough TV, you can go and comment below. So anything we're talking about, you can comment. You can say you guys are talking a load of rubbish. You can say, yeah, I really agree. You can tell us, you know, something about your team, even if it may be something about your team that we haven't discussed that maybe you want to just mention, and we might be able to discuss it on the show. So do go to Breakthrough TV on YouTube, and you'll be able to leave some comments under the show that you're watching us live on right now. Coolio, let's get back into the football. Sunderland 2, Arsenal 2.
Are we going there first?
Where do you think we're going to go?
I thought we was going to the Etihad.
Wasn't that the last game of the weekend? That's why I said if we've got time, we can discuss it. So that's why it's in your...
Are you watching this, guy? All right then. Let's do it then. Let's do it, bro.
That's why we're in our best interest to speed through some of these.
Let's go.
So Sunderland, remember we're going in order. So Sunderland 2, Arsenal 2. So obviously Arsenal had to settle for an away point in this game. A game that probably many, you know, prior to the game would have just expected Arsenal to go up there and steamroller. Sunderland have had a great start to the season. Let's not, you know, bear any bones about that. But you're looking at Arsenal, the form that they're in. They looked impregnable, obviously, you know, for long periods of this season. They were just on a 10-match run of no goals conceded or something like that as well. So, you know, they were going up there. Many would have assumed they would have gone up there and got the 3 points. But Sunderland had different ideas, and they've actually shown that actually they believe their place is right here in the Premier League. The first goal, it was a Dan Ballard goal. Route 1 football. Pump up the field, I think it was by the goalkeeper. What I thought was criminal was Arsenal letting the ball bounce inside their area. And when it bounced, who was the player? Was it Mukiele? Yeah, it was Mukiele. It bounced, and he was able to jump up because the bounce was so high, and then kind of nod the ball backwards towards Ballard that was running in behind him. Ballard's first touch and finish, that was Van Basten-esque. It was a very clean finish, powerful, near post, top corner, great finish. But I was surprised that Arsenal allowed that to bounce in the air, because that's one thing defenders usually get told. Don't let the ball bounce. Right? And Arsenal have obviously been so strong in that area previously. A great moment for Dan Ballard. He was an Arsenal Academy graduate as well. Never played a game for the club, though, but he was an Arsenal Academy graduate, so I'm sure that was a nice little feature for him. Arsenal then equalised on the 54th minute, and it was your boy Bukayo Saka who got the equaliser. I think it was Enzo Lefebvre who was dispossessed by Rice in the middle of the park, dilly-dallying on the ball. Rice then feeds the ball to, I think it was Marino, who then plays it out to Saka coming in from the right? And then Saka with a really clinical right-footed finish at the near post, beating the keeper at the near post. Saka needs more. I keep saying I rate Saka, and we've been speaking about it, I don't know if it was on our WhatsApp group or another one I was in, and I hold Saka in very, very high regard. But I can't talk about him in the Salah levels, in the Lamine Yamal even levels. I can't talk about him, you know, on the Doué levels even. Until
Elise, is Elise the other?
And Elise, yeah. Until you have to have a moment for me before you can start being spoken about in those terms. You have to have a moment, a world-class moment in a game, not against Sunderland, in a game of serious magnitude against a serious opposition, in order for you then for us to be able to say, yeah, you know what, Saka's ready now. I just haven't seen that yet. But great player. But he does need more goals, I think, to his name to start really elevating himself up that kind of chart towards, you know, a potential Ballon d'Or that a lot of Arsenal fans think that he'll be, you know, potentially winning, you know, at some stage soon.
We're going to have a conversation about world-class, elite level and Premier League players. But that conversation is not going to be today because I'm keeping my powder dry for something else.
But which one of those categories does Saka fall in for you at the moment?
At the moment, Premier League level.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say elite level.
Okay.
Because I think to get to the elite level...
So what was the levels?
World-class.
Then elite?
Then elite.
Then Premier League.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say elite.
Okay.
I'll put him in elite. And the only reason being his consistency is mad. You know, I watch many games with him. And, you know, me doing my usual hate watch, waiting for him to score an own goal. You know, I mean, it doesn't usually come true because players just can't get the ball off him. I'm always really impressed by his body strength, the way he protects the ball, but the way he can just glide past players well. I think in terms of his dribbling ability, definitely probably the best in the Premier League, personally for me, in terms of dribbling and his ability to retain possession and not give the ball away.
Better than Doku dribbling?
Let me think. That's a really good question. Maybe they're on a par. And thanks for throwing that on him, because you know I can't say nothing after this weekend. They're the Doku dribbling. Shut up. So what I'll say is they're probably on par. Okay. Doku is fire with his dribbling. I don't know if he has the consistency of Saka as yet.
Yeah.
But then he might be consistent. But Pep just has moments when he's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which world-class wicket should I play today? I think I'll go for this one. And then Doku might just miss out for 3-4 weeks because of that choice. Yes. But yeah. For me, Saka, great. Good to see him get on the score sheet at the weekend. But Trossard winning up, totally upstaged him with his goal. Now, we've spoken many a time on this show again. You don't hear many people bigging up Trossard. You hear them big up Martinelli. You hear them big up, obviously, Saka. You hear them big up, Eze, Odegaard. I rarely hear Arsenal fans really big up Trossard. And I think you and I have spoken on this show about how highly we regard him as a player.
Yeah.
Which is mad. I just think he's got bags of ability. The goal that he scored at the weekend was just, I mean, there's only a few players that can pull that off. And it's not just the strike. He knew what he wanted to do. He squared the player up at the edge of the box. He's kind of, giving him a few shimmies, giving him a few, a few feints so that he can work that angle.
And then hammered it.
But
we've seen him do it with his right and his left foot.
And that's the thing. I heard someone saying, the defender should have shown him onto his left. Show him onto his left, and he'll either whip one in with his left, or he'll pop it in the other corner with his left foot.
Yeah.
So, you can't say, if you showed him onto his left, he would have been less danger. Really, really great goal to score. But then, that was on the 74th minute. You're probably thinking Arsenal will just run out and obviously win this game comfortably. But Brian Broby for Sunderland, striker just bought in the summer from Ajax, scored his first goal for the club. Again, not a goal that I would expect Arsenal to concede. It was a reverse kind of chip ball into the box by Hume. He had some space in the middle of the park. Reverse chip into the box. Your boy Ballard was up there as well. I don't know if they'd just had a free kick or whether they'd just thrown him up for the last few minutes of the game. I didn't really get to see much of the build-up prior to that. But he's gone up with Saliba. Saliba, in his challenge, the ball's come off Saliba inadvertently and gone across the penalty box, I should say. And you got Broby and Gabriel kind of fighting for the ball. Gabriel tries to go with his head. Broby goes with his foot, with the outside of his right foot, and volleys it past Raya that's coming out of the goal as well, to score his first goal for the club. I mean, for me personally, in terms of that result, I don't think it says Arsenal are, coming off the rails. I think it speaks more to Sunderland's resilience than Arsenal's failings, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think two questions I asked myself was, are Arsenal about to do an Arsenal? Because they start really well.
Yeah.
And then we get to December, and then by January they're out of it.
Yeah.
So is it that? Personally, I don't think it is. You cannot underestimate the power of the Stadium of Light and the fans that the kind of atmosphere that they generate up there. I think personally it was a great comeback from Sunderland. They fought to the very end and got their just desserts.
Yeah.
Now, knowing a couple of Mackhams, as an area, it's not the most affluent area, and people in that part of the world understand working hard and grafting.
Correct.
So they go to work all week, they work, they graft,
And
then
like
they want to go to watch their football team, and the least that they expect
is for you to put that graft in.
Is for you to put that work and graft in.
For real.
Even if you put that work and graft in and you get hammered and you lose, they'll accept that.
Yeah.
But they will not accept the lack of effort.
Yeah, truth.
And the lack of work effort,
Truth.
work rate.
Truth.
What you're getting out of this Sunderland side is every player on that pitch is putting a shift in.
Yeah.
Granit Xhaka has gone there, and I don't know how many kilometres he's running again.
Yeah.
But you can see he's all over the place.
Yes.
And he's demanding that of his teammates, as well. And you're watching the players around him respond to him. So like Trey Humes, Dan Bollard, they've got these players that they are big young players, but they're being directed by the kind of the orchestrator who's saying like we need to be meeting these levels, and they want to make a success of their careers. So what we're seeing is that when you go into the stadium, like you got this cauldron of noise and fans expecting and baying, and you've got the players on the pitch that are coming at you and they're not stopping, and they've got their just reward. So I was really pleased with that.
Really pleased. You're not wrong. And as you say, cauldron at the Stadium of Light, I almost called it the Cauldron of Light, which is probably a good nickname for it. They're unbeaten there this season. But at home, they've only lost 2 away games, one away to Burnley, one away to Manchester United. They're really, showing solidity and an ability to obviously, grind out results where needed. Regarding Arsenal, you mentioned whether they're potentially going to 2-1 Arsenal. Does it show a bit of I don't want to call it a soft belly because they're just coming off a run of how many clean sheets in a row, right? So we can't call it, a soft belly as such. I think the clean sheet run is something like, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so it was around 9, 10 clean sheets in a row that Arsenal had. But does it show a way to potentially get at them? I think if you play football against Arsenal, then you're in for a hiding. What they showed there is get around Saliba and Gabriel, get the balls into the box, many balls into the box, get them fighting for it. Because ultimately, that ball can drop anywhere. They might win the ball, but they might not win it cleanly. As long as you're making sure you're putting them off their jump, the ball might drop to one of your players and so on and so on. So you're kind of playing the law of averages then. I think Sunderland did that really well. They played some good football as well throughout the game. But in terms of the 2 goals that we saw there, it was very much, what do they call it? I love that. I love the term agricultural. It was agricultural.
No, I just think when you're playing against Arsenal, if you're playing against Arsenal to play the intricate football, going into your deep lying number 9, and you're going to kind of play patterns into the box and getting your shots off, they can deal with that. They can deal with the ball in behind with players running on, because Saliba and Gabriel, they're both quick
and nimble as well. They're nimble on their feet.
And they'll run across you and dive on the floor and kind of get all that kind of thing. What they don't want, they don't want to be pinned in their box.
Correct.
And having to defend
and deal with headers for half an hour, and
if the quality in the box is of a sufficient quality that Raya can't come out and get it, you can see that there's a couple of times where we hesitated. Should I come or should I stay? And that's the quality of the ball in the box. Because if the ball's too close to him, he's coming for it, and he's going to have a catch. He's going to punch it.
He's cleaning up.
And that you don't need that.
Very true.
What you want to do is put it in. What do they call it? The corridor of uncertainty. Put the ball in the corridor of uncertainty. Keep doing it to them. And see what happens, and that's what Sunderland did, and that's the end result.
So true. So obviously, it just left the door open for the chasing pack to maybe gain on Arsenal. We'll talk about who the really big winners were of that result on at the Stadium of Light. One of those winners, if you like, that kind of would have been looking at that result with interest was Chelsea, who went up to 3rd in the table with a victory, 3-0 victory over Wolves. Wolves are in a very, very sorry state of affairs at the moment. They are looking odds on to go down. Really, really poor down there at the moment. But from a Chelsea perspective, they're on a decent run. Again, they show some, their Achilles heel pops up every now and then. But ultimately, when you look at the personnel that they have at their disposal, they had Garnacho starting the game on the left on the weekend, who had a really, really good game. In fact, it was his cross that created the first goal for Gusto, their right back stroke kind of right midfield We'll call him a fullback.
He plays wherever he wants.
Wherever he wants, yeah,
exactly. Paulo Gusto, he plays where he wants.
It was a good crossing from the left from Garnacho. Gusto nodding in to score his first ever Premier League goal for Chelsea. I didn't realise that because he gets into so many forward positions. I thought he might have had a few more goals, but it was his first goal for the club. Pedro got, again, I think that's his second goal in 2 games as well. Good work from Estavo. Estavo has proven to be a real gem. Real gem. Good feet down the right. Slams the ball across the floor into the middle of the box where Pedro's waiting unmarked, and he just buries his effort high into the Wolves net. And then the Pedro Neto goal, again, Garnacho being the... Hold on a minute. A Man United player leaving Manchester United and going somewhere and actually playing well. Have I heard that before? A few places, huh?
A few places.
A few places.
This season, last season, the season before.
Anyway, sorry, we're not ribbing Manchester United. We're more talking about the resurrection of these players, right, and their careers. You know, moving on. That's the theme. The narrative here is that some players just need to move to other clubs in order to kickstart their careers, right? Yeah. It's just that most players that leave Man United kickstart their careers. In an immense fashion. So yeah, Garnacho for the second. Don't know if you heard the cough in the background there. that was a first warning shot. Garnacho was the creator for the third goal as well. Again, really good pace down left hand side. Took off, squares the ball into the middle of the box, and Pedro Neto's there. I mean, 2 are probably the quickest players on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? So Pedro was probably the only player that could have kept up with him, the pace that Garnacho was running. And he hits home from close range. We spoke about Chelsea at the beginning of last season. You didn't give them a hell's chance. I said, with the players they've got, they could, on any, at any game, they could just click into life and do a team. This season, what's your thoughts?
Chelsea, on their day, can beat anybody, as they demonstrated in the pre-season when they won the World Club Championship.
Club World Cup.
This season, they seem to be more consistent, but there's still a rick in there. I'm still not convinced on them defensively.
Their back four is their back four is what is definitely their Achilles heel. Exactly that.
Like Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, going forward, I don't think there's any issues in that regard. Estavo coming over, and actually, have they looked like they've missed Cole Palmer?
No. In my personal opinion, because remember, Cole wasn't really playing at his optimum.
No.
Yeah, at the time when he got injured anyway. He was just starting to find a little bit of form here and there. It was a bit patchy. So for me, I think they haven't. In fact, you look at him and you say to yourself,
where does he come back?
Where does he come back?
So, and let's not belittle Cole Palmer or kind of diminish what we think of him.
No, I'm a big fan.
We've spoken about this numerous of times.
Exactly.
So in terms of Cole Palmer going back into that options of forward players it's a big uplift for Chelsea.
Without a doubt.
I'm still concerned about them defensively. I still think Robert Sanchez is a goalkeeper that they need an upgrade on.
Indeed.
Do I think they can sustain a Premier League challenge for over the course of a season? No. Do I think they'll be up there and thereabouts? Yes, I do.
Yeah. And listen, and I think the beauty of the Premier League as well, it all depends on other teams' performances as well, right? And I think this more than, I say this and last season, I think as well, was a real showing of how any team on their day can beat any team in the Premier League, And I think there's some real strong, what you would usually consider mid-table teams that actually are not intimidated by the big teams coming to town anymore. They'll find a game plan and they'll try and, implement that game plan.
Bournemouth, Crystal Palace.
Yeah. Sunderland.
Yeah, where do they fit into this traditional top six?
Top six, exactly. Well, I think there's no reason why a team like Crystal Palace, for example, should not be saying that is our aim, actually. I know they'll probably say, last season, I can't remember where they finished last season, but they finished in the position that should have got them
Champions League?
Europa League. It was Europa League, but then they got relegated to the conference, wasn't it? Because
Yes,
of the
that's
fact.
it. Yeah.
But they got the Europa League anyway. I think it was through the FA Cup win, not through their league positioning. But in terms of their form this season, you look at them and say, there's no reason why you shouldn't be looking at top 6.
But when you consider that they sell their best player every year,
Yeah.
but they're still there, they're still competing, and they're still performing.
Yeah. I thought, I suppose, a big thing from a Palace perspective is, can they keep hold of Glasner? If they can keep hold of Glasner and build on what they're doing this season, then I think, you could definitely be looking at them, potentially as to, starting to threaten that top 6. Yeah. But in terms of Chelsea, I think they're a danger. Yeah, they're a danger to most teams in the Premier League. I think, like you say, the back four is their weakness. But if they can dominate games, and they do dominate games a lot with their possession, and if they can dominate games and just make sure that teams aren't able to get out their back four, do you know what I mean, as little as possible, and they've definitely got the firepower in that front kind of 5-6.
And I don't know if you noticed, what he started doing now is when they're playing teams that potentially could get at their back four, he goes Reece James, Caicedo, and Fernandes.
Yes.
When you see those three in midfield, you know that
you're in for a battle.
He's prepared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to let you break onto our defence. We're going to have these players in here, and they're going to disrupt what you're doing.
Correct. Very true. And then he's always got those pacey wide men then to get them out of trouble. There's an out ball if needed as well. You're not wrong. What time is it? It's it's 5 minutes before we have a break. So let's really quickly cover Brentford-Newcastle. Brentford obviously beating Newcastle 3-1 at the GTEC Community Stadium down in West London there. Newcastle did go ahead. Sorry, I watched Harvey Barnes' goal maybe 3 or 4 times because the way he throws the 2 defenders off, I'm like, no, that's a Kodak moment.
That's naughty.
Yeah, that's a Kodak moment, man. Yeah. Sent one to the shop, one to get his chips from the chippy. It was beautiful moment.
You sent him to the wrong chip shop.
Harvey Barnes gets the ball in the area. I think it was a ball played in from the right. Voltemade kind of gets a touch on the ball, which takes it back out to the edge of the area where Harvey Barnes is. Harvey Barnes gets the ball. He's got 2 players in front of him. He checks onto his right, feigns to shoot on his right. Both the players just kind of slide out of the way. He comes back on his left and fires a really, really powerful shot low with his left foot through the legs, pretty much, I think it was, of Kelleher, who was coming out of the goal to put Newcastle 1-0 up. Brentford then did what Brentford do. They gave the ball to Coyote to take a throw in. and he threw it threw it into the danger area. A bunch of bodies go up, and the keeper comes as well, trying to punch. I think the ball actually may have come off a Newcastle player. I think it came off. What's his name? Oh, why is my head's gone? It wasn't Dan Burn. The other one, Botman. Thank you, Botman. Yeah, I think it came off Botman's head actually. And as it comes off Botman's head, he kind of goes across the goal. The goalkeeper's committed to come and punch, misses it completely. Goes across the goal line pretty much. And you've got Kevin Schade there just to nod the ball into an empty net to bring them back into the game. Dan Burn then got away with one on Utara. Utara showed him a couple of feet, a couple of step overs, then goes to go on his outside. Dan Burn dangles a foot. I think he catches him ever so lightly. And what really baffles me is, firstly, the referee gives Utara a yellow card for a dive. They then go to VAR, and then the verdict from VAR was that it was only a light touch. So do we measure touches on like the Richter scale now as to which one's a penalty or not?
It's a light touch.
It's a light touch, so no, that's all right. And I'm not going to rescind the yellow card either, which I thought wild. I thought, okay, so there's a light touch, but if you're saying it's not enough for a penalty, fair enough. So surely rescind the yellow card, because I've seen lighter touches than that given as a penalty.
And how do you define light touch?
I want to know.
A touch is a touch.
I want to know. And we've seen touch. Wayne, I can't. Because you're telling me I'm just talking about Liverpool again. But I've seen touches where literally the foot brushes past the foot, but because the player throws his head up and his arms back, it's a penalty, right? So I didn't get that decision there. I'm all for it if they get a bit stricter on diving. I'm all for that. That wasn't the one for me. No. That wasn't the one. There was a touch. Anyway, what then happens is... so Dan Burns escapes that one, no penalty. And he was on a yellow card. What then happens is a few minutes later, a ball over the top. Dan Burns in a foot race with Utara, only one winner. Utara gets the ball first. Dan Burns kind of throws his foot towards the ball, but it looks like it's going across the player. The player goes down. Penalty, Dan Burns sending off. I don't think Dan Burn touches Utara one iota, but I think they level things up there, because I think if they didn't give that then there would have been uproar about the first one because there was a touch. Yeah. That's my personal opinion.
But I think watching that game, it was, in my notes, I've got Atara versus Burns, David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
Because Atara tore him
apart
to shreds.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting down there watching, I'm thinking, you've got Lewis Hall on the bench, who is a left back, and he's Lewis Hall?
I remember him, I'm just playing.
You're watching him, and you're watching Dan Burn. Dan Burn doesn't do well with those nimble, quick, round your feet strikers.
No.
What kind of winger is Atara? Atara's a quick, nimble, round your feet kind of winger.
Correct.
So I get it that you want to play Dan Burn, but was this the game for him?
Yeah.
Because there was a number of opportunities, a number of times that. Because I think if you watch the highlights, you see 3 of them. But when you watch the game, there's about 4 or 5 of them.
Correct.
That easily could have had an outcome of exactly the same. So I think Dan Burn, even when he got sent off, he was walking off the pitch anyway. He's you know what, I've had enough.
To be fair,
I'm fed up of chasing after this guy. I don't want to.
I don't want to play.
I don't want to play anymore.
To be fair to him, when they give him the red card, he kind of looked at the rest and said, all right, fair dues.
Because he knows the amount of kicks that he'd given him, and when he's trying to kick him and he didn't catch him.
He keeps getting away. He keeps getting away with it.
If you don't book me, I'm going to keep kicking.
Yeah. All right, one too many. All right, fair enough. Yeah. So obviously Dan Burn gets sent off. Igor Thiago steps up to take the penalty. Very nice, calm penalty taker. His second goal really impressed me. I thought that was a really nice, clean take. That was another ball over the top. I think it was Utara who was coming across the pitch to get to the ball, and I think it was Malik Thiaw who gets a challenge in, but he slides, kicks the ball kind of towards his goal. Past Botman. Botman thinks, oh, great challenge. As he turns around, he realised that Thiago's coming in behind him. He's like, Thiago's finish, first time. So the ball's kind of coming across the ball, across the 18-yard box. Thiago's coming in. Goalkeeper's rushing out to him, and his finish is just really calm, composed, under the keeper. Bam. 3-1. Newcastle still without an away win. Brentford going from strength to strength, it seems. I want to talk a bit more about it, but it's 10:30 and we've got to go for a quick break. So we might just touch upon Keith Andrews again when we come back from the break, because I think he's doing a fantastic job. It is 11:30, guys. I wish it was 10:30, because then we'd have time to talk about Liverpool Man City, but at the moment I don't know if we'll have time. We've got to go for a break, guys. We shall see you on the other side. Please do stay tuned. We've got the big talking point of the weekend, Liverpool losing to Man City, so clearly you don't want to go anywhere. See you in a few.
Till 6 p.m. New Star Radio 98.7 FM. Mr. Lover said that. Shaggy.
Broadcasting across the city on 98.7 FM. New Style Radio.
Good evening and welcome back once again to the Genius Football Show on newstarradio.com and also Breakthrough TV Live. Once again, don't forget to go and leave your comments underneath the visuals on Breakthrough TV. And again, it's Breakthrough, TRU. TV on YouTube. And yes, it is meant to be spelled like that. Yeah, don't bother with the grammar business. Yeah, it's meant to be spelled like that. Right, Wayne, we've got 25 minutes. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get Man City Liverpool in, but we're going to try our best, yeah? Nottingham Forest there, they beat Leeds 3-1 to give Sean Dyche his first his first win of the season, at the club as a new manager. And not only that, it's the first win for the club themselves since August the 17th, which was basically their opening day victory against Brentford at the City Ground. Obviously, when Nuno was still there.
I was going to say, was Nuno the manager then?
Yeah.
So they've had this is the second manager since Nuno?
Correct.
All right.
Correct. They had 2 managers since Nuno. 1 manager, it's just who we are, mate. That manager didn't get a win at all during his tenure. I can't remember if he got a European win. No, it was all draws. No, he didn't. So Sean Dyche coming in. I think this is probably about his 3rd or 4th game in charge. And he's had some difficult games since he's come in, to be fair to him. I'm sure the first game was probably Arsenal, I think, if I'm not mistaken, away. For him to get his first win under his belt, really, really pleasing for him. In terms of the goal scorers on the day, the goals were, or the goal scoring, I should say, was opened by Leeds. It was Lucas Nemio. I should get my pronunciation better than that. I really should. But it was
how they pronounced it was Nemecha?
Nemecha? Nemecha. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll go with that. The German striker, anyway.
Yeah.
Great feet on the edge of the box. Threw a couple of step overs onto his right. Fired a low, hard shot across the goalkeeper into the far corner to put Leeds 1-0 up. Then it was Sangara who equalised for Nottingham Forest. I think that was his first goal for Forest as well. Scoring that goal, it was a ball that came in from the right, took a couple of ricochets. He's coming onto it in the middle of the box and fires home with power. Morgan Gibbs-White getting his second goal and second header. I mean, is this proof that Sean Dyche's tactics are working? I never heard of him scoring headers before, but it was his second goal, second header in 2 games to give Forest a 2-1 lead, and then it was Elliot Anderson that stepped up to put away a 90th minute penalty even after Amari Hutchinson was fouled in the penalty box. So again, Wayne, you were mentioning really quickly, that Dyche, in terms of what he said in the after-match interview about what he told the players.
Yeah, so there was interviewing Dyche because they had a player called Endoy that was playing on the right.
Big boy, yeah, big boy. They bought him from Genoa, I think, this season, or Udinese, one or the other.
The only Endoy I knew was the one at Everton, and I was thinking, that ain't the same player. This is a different player. But when you're watching him, he was doing things. And then they brought off Amari Hutchinson, who they'd brought from Ipswich, off the bench.
Yeah.
And they were saying, like, how'd you get a tune out of Amari Hutchinson? He goes, listen, he's a Premier League footballer, and we just told him, just slow down.
Yeah.
Understand that you deserve to be here.
Yeah.
Go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you watched Amari Hutchinson play, he looked like he was playing with a freedom that he could do what he wanted, skip where he wanted, and the ball that he put across for
Sangara.
For Gibbs-White.
Gibbs-White header.
The Gibbs-White header. You're like, that's why you've been brought. That's why you've been brought back to the Premier League.
And we all knew that he had that in his locker anyway.
We'd seen it in glimpses at Ipswich.
Correct. Yeah, so good result for them. Good to see them getting back to winning ways. Forest are another one of those teams that I kind of have a little bit of a soft spot for, just from the old school days with the Nigel Cloughs and the Ian Womes and the Crosby as well on the right hand side. I used to love watching that team play, man. And it had Brian Roy up front, and used to love watching that team play. Really good result for Forest. Let's go to Villa Park. Obviously, we spoke about Villa earlier on. There's interference. Technician, there's interference on the line. No, we spoke about Villa earlier on, obviously, in terms of their European exploits, obviously getting that 2-0 win on Thursday. They carried on their great form, or their good form, I should say, by spanking Bournemouth 4-0. And not many teams spank Bournemouth 4-0 anymore, let's be honest.
You often hear people talk about Unai Emery being a tactician, and he's a very, very serious, and he's a student of the game, and he's very studious, and he expects his players to have an understanding.
Yeah.
What we saw in terms of performance from Villa was a game plan to nullify the things that Bournemouth wanted to do. Antoine Semenyo, he doesn't play as a conventional winger. He doesn't hog the touchline and stay out there. He comes inside. When you look at statistically for Semenyo, 5 attempted dribbles, none completed.
What, in that game?
In that game.
Yeah.
You look at Ivan Nilsson. I love Ivan Nilsson's movement, and he's always getting in behind the back of your defence, and he's always like on the shoulder of somebody, so they're having to look over their shoulder to find out where he is. He reminds me similar to Bobby Firmino. In terms of his movements, in terms of how he...
Agree.
He's not the quickest, but he's just smart with what he's doing.
It's funny you say that, because last season, I'd said to a lot of Liverpool fans before, when we were, when it had become apparent that Nunes had to go, I looked at Evan Nielsen and I said, I would like Evan Nielsen at the club to come and play that Bobby Firmino role. Exactly what I just said there. So it's crazy that you said that, because I've not heard anybody else mention that comparison before. So really interesting that you mentioned that. That's why you're on the show. That's why we work so good together, right?
Well, those who know,
great minds think alike. What is it?
Those who know, they know.
They know exactly.
But I think so the game plan was set up for Bournemouth, who historically would come to Villa Park and give us a bloody nose.
Yeah.
And then Emi Buendia, like, people throw shade on his name. Like, when he came to us from Norwich, he was our club record signing.
Yeah.
He came in, and it's like people expected him to single-handedly get us pushing us up the league table for. But what I've always noticed with Buendia is he needs players around him that he'll make a pass, and you think to yourself, what kind of pass is that? But he's expecting players to move. So he's not passing it to where you are, he's passing it to where he wants it to be.
Where you should be running into.
You know what I mean? And if you make that run, the ball looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem that we had...
We didn't have the runners.
So it looked poor.
Correct.
And then he went out on loan to Leverkusen last season, and even this season, like, they were looking to loan him out again.
Yeah.
And he's saying, like, I want to stay, I want to fight for my place.
But can I not say, weren't Villa trying to play him out on the left as well? When he first came, like in his early days,
he played he started out on the left
on the weekend as well.
Yeah.
And is that his position, or is he more effective? Because even though he starts on the left, they allow him a bit of freedom to come inside, don't they?
Yeah.
To get on the ball, essentially, right in behind the strikers.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I think initially when he first came to Villa, from what I saw, he was asked to kind of play as a left winger and hold that position. Yeah. Can't remember what manager that would have been under, actually. I can't remember who was there prior to Unai. It was Stevie G, and then before that, I think it was whoever was there before that. I can't remember. It wasn't Dean Smith, was it? Either way, that's where I felt that he wasn't being utilised. I think now, even though his starting position is left, when the ball's in play and you're building up, he's allowed to come inside and get involved in the ball and, get himself into the holes and dangerous areas. Defensively then, when you're setting up to defend from goal kicks or whatever, then he moves back out there to obviously, provide a shield for his left back. But great free kick from the guy. He shows his confidence at the moment. He shows the confidence that he's playing with at the moment. The rail is like a knuckle kick with the knuckle of his foot over the wall to give Villa the 1-0 lead. Onana got his first goal of the season with a low right-footed shot from 20-odd yards out, which snuck in at the near post. Martinez, that save, beautiful. I can't remember who did the shot, but it got deflected up in the end, was looping over him.
Yep.
To move his feet that quickly for his size, number one, he's a big guy. To move his feet and then at the end to be able to get the spring and the power in the arm to push it over the bar, one of the best saves of the season so far for me, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
What was number one?
It's funny that, because another Villa fan who you know as well, Mr. Neil Charles, otherwise known as Ben Mark, said that they should sell Martinez. But I think he was just still in a bit of pain about what he did at Anfield the week before this world number one. So you and him can argue it out.
Bring it. I've always said.
And then obviously he followed up with a penalty save thereafter as well, not long after, from Semenyo later on. Barkley, Ross Barkley getting a goal, a rare goal, again a rare-headed goal as well, I'd say, from a corner, flicking it at the near post into the far corner of the net. And then the final goal, the nail in the coffin, if the third wasn't the nail in the coffin, the fourth was, Marlon wheeled away again like he just scored an overhead kick. But Tielemans, it was all Tielemans, wasn't it? It was a shortly worked corner kick that made its way out to the edge of the box where Tielemans was. Good to see him back playing, by the way. Yeah. He looked really good on Thursday as well. I know it was only against Tel Aviv, but you could just said, you know what,
levels.
This is going to bring another dimension now against the midfield, low shot, going a bit wayward, flicks off the heel of Marlon, and Marlon wheels away doing the Shearer, one hand in the air, like, look at me, man, I'm the man. I'm the man. Didn't know anything about it. No. But great result for Villa. Good to see them getting back to winning ways in the Premier League in such emphatic fashion. I think since that season where obviously Emery took them to Champions League football, I think, juggling Champions League football as well as the Premier League schedule was difficult for them last season. So we didn't get to see the real Villa under Emery. I think we're starting to see that again now. What looks good as well for me is just the unit it just looks really cohesive. You mentioned Emery as a tactician. I think in terms of snuffing out another team's threat, that is his USP. Yeah. You know, he's done it for many years. He used to give the big boys bloody noses in La Liga all of the time, and he's able to do that now in the Premier League as well. But also, what he's got a bit of, I don't know, magic dust, if you like, in the team as well. Where going forward, also, you can implement, progressive passing game and create chance with that as well, which is a nice blend, because he's not always been known for that at previous teams. So Wayne's a happy chappy.
Indeed.
Yeah?
Indeed.
I think that's all we've got time for today.
Nice try.
The last game of the weekend, actually, just really quickly, shout out to Palace Brighton, the M23 derby. You know, we can't fully overlook it because it was the M23 derby, one of the big derbies in world football, as we know. M23. Do you know how far apart they are?
But what I'm hearing is that the actual fans of both clubs don't even acknowledge it as the M23 derby.
I know.
It's external
it's just
people
hype.
telling them it's
external hype.
Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, ended 0-0. Not much to talk about there. We'll leave that one alone. Let's get on to Man City Liverpool. So, firstly, can I just say, the Etihad complex is a sight to behold. So I was up there to cover the game. The car park for the media is at what's known as the Jolie Stadium. The Jolie Stadium is where the youth team play. It's a stadium. It's proper, like a, what do they call it? Like a bowl stadium. Very impressive. That's where the media's on. Very impressive. The whole complex really, really impressive. And then the training pitch that they've got just outside the stadium as well. Coming like La Masia in Barcelona. Yeah, they've nailed the complex down there. But I suppose you can with limitless funds from dodgy dealings. Allegedly.
Don't hate.
Allegedly.
Don't hate.
Anyway, real quick, we'll run through this as quick as we can, guys. No one wants to hear this one. Listen, firstly, Man City had Liverpool pinned back for the first 15, 20 minutes of the game. That's not even an exaggeration. They passed the ball and passed Liverpool to death in that 15 minutes. Liverpool were pinned back in their own half. Nothing going forward whatsoever. In the 8th minute, man of the match, Jeremy Doku, he went on one of his many runs at Conor Bradley, taking him to the cleaners every time he ran at him. What was strange is it looked like Conor had it covered, and then Konate's come over for extra cover as Doku's entering the box. It then looks like a kind of like, you have it. No, you have it. You have it. No, you have it.
We're going to run into each other and fall over.
We're going to run into each other and fall over. While Doku skips away with the ball. And that's exactly what happened. Doku somehow came out of that. Again.
Was it a penalty?
Was it a penalty? When you talk about light touches, and this is what I mean about referees making a rod for their backs, in the sense of saying, oh, that's a light touch. Oh, but that's a penalty. I couldn't even see, was it his... Well, I did in the end because I saw the replays, but I think it was his knee that actually caught the trailing foot. Yeah. Obviously, Doku makes a meal of it. Once the referee didn't give the penalty, VAR said, go look at the monitor, then it's inevitable the penalty's coming. Erling Haaland steps up. You're thinking he's going to, put them 1-0 up. Great save by Mamardashvili. Diving down to his left-hand side to save. But 20 minutes later, Haaland said, that was just a little bit of a glitch in the matrix there. Matheus Nunes on the right gets the ball. Dummies, he kind of feigns a first cross, which kind of gives him an additional couple of seconds to pick the cross that he wanted to pick. Because as he does the feign, Robertson does the little jump kind of thing and kind of backtracks a little bit. By the time he's now ready to come and face him up again, the ball's whipped in. I don't know what Konate's doing. He's in front of Erling Haaland. If Konate jumps full, full nothing, just jump, he flicks that ball over Haaland's head. But he doesn't get off the floor. Haaland does get off the floor, head and shoulders above him, literally, and heads the ball back across goal into the far corner.
But didn't he take a deflection off Konate before it went in?
No. I think you might. Are you thinking about the second goal? There was a second goal that took a deflection off Van Dijk, but the header, it was a clean header. Unless it came off did it come off the top of Konate's head?
It comes across from Nunes.
Yeah.
Haaland power heads it.
That's right.
It hits Konate on either his shoulder or the back of his head, and it loops up a bit. The trajectory of the ball
goes up a bit.
Mamardashvili can't get to
Can't get to it. I think he was rooted anyway because even the direction, the angle of the ball into the far corner, it was going to be a difficult one for him to get to anyway. I have to admit, I didn't look at the replays that many times because I was cursing.
I did.
I was I was cursing while I was capturing who crossed the ball and who scored the goal. That's all that I needed to get for the report. I didn't need detail. That puts obviously Man City 1-0 up. Liverpool did put the ball in the back of the net. It was a Mohamed Salah cross from the right, in-swinger with his left. Another good header, from Van Dijk this time, with the ball going in again to a similar corner to Haaland's. VAR then decided to get involved and rule the ball out, saying that Robertson was in a offside position and interfering. Now, my understanding of that rule is that if the player is in the eye line or the sight between the keeper and the ball, and he's offside, he's interfering. If he's standing next to the keeper, preventing the keeper from diving, even if he doesn't touch the ball, he's interfering. In my opinion, Robertson was neither. I tried to be as subjective as possible about this. I'm trying not to have my Liverpool hat on. And I look at the trajectory of the ball. It goes into the far corner. Donnarumma has full visibility of the ball right the way through. He dives full stretch. Robertson is not preventing him from diving. But where Robertson is, he has to duck for the ball to go into the net. Is that interfering? How has Robertson impacted the play or impacted Man City's ability to defend that scenario? I'll put that to you as a neutral. And someone who wants to have a laugh at Liverpool anyway.
Okay. What is the specific question that you're asking?
Is Robertson interfering with Man City's ability to defend that scenario? Because he's not in the eyesight of the keeper. The eyesight has full visibility of the ball right the way. He's able to dive, and he dives full stretch, just can't reach the ball. He's not being impacted there either. Is Robertson interfering?
Okay. What I'm going to do before I answer that question is I'm going to go to the IFAB website.
Yeah.
Law 11.
Yeah.
Offside.
Yeah.
It is an offence to be in an offside position.
Yeah.
A player is in an offside position if any part of the head, body or feet is in the opponent's half, excluding the halfway line, and any part of the head, body or feet is nearer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent.
That's if they are touching the ball or receiving the ball. Yeah, totally agree. That's standard, yeah.
So the hands and arms of the players, including the goalkeepers, are not considered. For the purposes of determining offside, the upper boundary of the arm is in line with the bottom of the armpit. Now, in terms of offside...
But that's all still related to if you're the person receiving the ball. Not if you are on the other side of the pitch when the ball's being played down the left and you're standing on the right wing offside.
So you're talking about phases of play. Was Robertson...
The ball is headed...
Yeah.
And it goes over Robertson's head. Robertson has to duck out of the way for the ball to go into the net.
So is he obscuring the goalkeeper's line of sight?
No, he's not. Because the goal... So how can I put it? It's almost like the ball is being headed. The ball's being headed from the left-hand side. And it's going back across to the right. Mm-hmm. Donnarumma can watch that ball all the way. Robertson is not in between him and the ball at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the left-hand side of Donnarumma, so the ball's coming over like this. Robertson's coming out like that. Donnarumma goes to dive. Robertson's probably maybe where you are, ducking now, as the ball goes over his head and goes into the net. Yeah?
If he didn't duck, what would happen?
Then it hits him and it's offside. Totally agree.
Okay.
It doesn't hit him. He doesn't stop the goalkeeper from diving. He doesn't get in the goalkeeper's eye line of where the ball's coming from.
Yeah.
He's to the side of the keeper, doesn't obstruct nothing different happens if Robertson is not there. Nothing different happens.
But he was there.
Yeah. So it's subjective.
Yeah, I'll take it subjective, but it was offside.
So the rule that I would have liked you to look, but we won't have time now, but maybe we'll discuss it another time. The rule I would have liked you to look at is players who are not interfering or who are seen as interfering because they are in the goalkeeper's eye line.
That is 11.2.
Okay. Have you got it there now?
I've got it here now.
Go on then, real quick.
So, 11.2. Players in an offside position at the moment, the ball is played or touched by a teammate is only penalised on becoming involved in active play. So interfering with play by playing or touching a ball passed or touched by a teammate. Interfering with an opponent by preventing an opponent from playing or being able to play the ball by clearly obstructing the opponent's line of vision.
Excellent.
Or challenging an opponent for the ball.
Excellent.
Or clearly attempting to play a ball.
Excellent.
Which is close when this action impacts on an opponent.
Yeah.
Or making an obvious action which clearly impacts on the ability of an opponent to play the ball. So in effect.
So when you see the replay, check it out again. We'll watch it here before we leave.
Yeah.
When you see the replay, he does none of that. He doesn't make a gesture towards the ball that might throw somebody off to say, oh no, I thought he was going to kick it. He doesn't touch the ball. He's not in the goalkeeper's eye line. He's not preventing a defender from getting back and clearing it off the line. None of the above. Nothing happens differently if he's nowhere near that position. The ball took the fly that it took. The goalkeeper did the dive that he would have dived. Anyway, so again, it's a subjective one, but this is where sometimes the rules do not cover all bases.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
because if you look at the game last year, was it happened against Manchester City and Bernardo Silva was in front of the goalkeeper?
Yes,
and they allowed that goal
because he didn't touch it, or he didn't make a motion towards the goal or something, right?
He ducked so the ball went over him.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, so I think I can understand the challenge that the Liverpool fans have because that happened then.
Yeah.
Are you guys starting to sound like Arsenal fans? No. Won't swear at you like that. But deserved winners, isn't it?
Anyway, Nico Gonzalez scored a goal apparently on the in first half injury time. Again, it was a short corner, played out to the edge of the box, similar to actually Tielemans actually. Goes out to Nico Gonzalez. The only difference is the deflection comes off Van Dijk and goes past Mohamedashvili in the Liverpool goal. And then man of the match, Doku, got his deserved goal. He absolutely rinsed the Liverpool defence all afternoon. His final goal on the 63rd minute came from a long out ball. It was probably the best period of the game from a Liverpool perspective, having some possession deep in Man City half for a long period of time. Then they just did the long out ball out to the left. The very impressive Nico O'Reilly burst down the left hand side, squares it to Doku, who's central just outside the box. He does that shimmy that you know's coming and you can't do anything about it, where he kind of just throws his foot out to the right and then goes right. So like, you dumb me to go there. And I said, you're not catching me. And then you actually go there. Out to the right, then a beautiful curled finish around Konate's challenge and the dive of Mohamedashvili. So yeah, really, really great goal. Guardiola's 1,000th game in, as a manager, obviously marking that in style with a 3-0 win. They means that Man City were able to close the gap to Arsenal to 4 points. So we're all Man City fans for the coming weeks, of course. But I mean, it was a farce for people to think that Man City weren't going to be in a title race, right?
Who thought that?
Yeah, the sensationalists and Arsenal fans. Just those ones. So yeah, great weekend of football. It wasn't that painful going through that last game. Thank you very much, Wayne, for making it enjoyable. Guys, it's midnight. We've got homes to go to and families to go to and jobs to get up for in the morning. It's been an absolute pleasure. For those of you watching on Breakthrough TV, hope you enjoyed the new format. For those of you listening on newstarradio.com, thank you once again for all your support. Guys, please go and follow Breakthrough TV. Go and subscribe on YouTube. Go and follow the Genius Football Show on Instagram. Go and subscribe there, please. And also go and subscribe to New Star Radio Live on Instagram as well. That's where you'll see lots of little snips and clips and so on and so forth. But anyway, I'm talking too much. Gotta go. Have a great week, guys.
Hotep, my people. Hotep.
Take care, people.
Birmingham.